Budzinski. I am an associate professor of law at UDC. And I had the pleasure of having Dennis in my clinic last semester. And just forgive me because I'm going to take out my modern note card here, so I don't make sure I don't miss anything. So I am mostly going to let Dennis introduce himself just by asking a couple questions so you all can hear directly from him. But I couldn't start this without saying a few things about Dennis and the experience that I had with him in the clinic. Dennis, as I shared with the committee, is just the embodiment of a public interest lawyer. He is not just whip smart, but kind, compassionate, intentional, committed, and just from our personal conversations, I know, committed to using his law degree for this community, for DC, for public interest in a way that, while I did not know Mark Herzog personally, I know would live up to his legacy. My co-director of the clinic, Tiana Gibbs, could not be here because she is teaching family law as I speak. But she shared with me the following that I thought I had to share with you all as well. She said, Dennis is a gem. Absolutely one of the most compassionate, considerate, and skilled students I have ever worked with. So I am just so honored that I get to be part of introducing Dennis to you all. So Dennis, I thought that you could start by just telling us what got you interested in law and law school.
So I think this question needs a little bit of background of myself. So I was born in El Salvador, and my family and I came here when I was 5 years old. It didn't really take long to see how people really look at people like us in this country, especially. And especially in the 2016 election, and just all of these issues, all this injustice being put in front of everybody's faces. I think that's when I started to realize, there's something wrong that, we need to do something about. So in 2020, with all the protests and everything was being thrown in everybody's face. And I think in that moment, I realized that, if there's a way that I can help, I have to do it. And that's what led me to go to law school.
So what got you interested in UDC law specifically?
So I always knew that I wanted to be in DC, but I guess I didn't really understand why. But UDC's whole, like Professor Broderick was saying, its whole mission is to help people that don't ordinarily have help from these legal systems. So that's what really drove me to UDC.
So you've spent some time in the clinics, in two of our clinics in our clinical program. I wonder if you could talk a little bit about what that meant to you, or how that shaped what you want to do with your law degree.
Yeah, well, first of all, it was very difficult, and that was something that you never really get used to, the amount of work that it takes to actually be able to help somebody. But after my two clinical experiences, I really came to realize that there really is a big population of people that need help. And if we're not able, or we're not willing, and we don't want to help them, then they're never going to have help. And I think that's the most important thing that someone can do with the JD.
So we've talked, privately, and I wonder if you could speak a little bit with this group about how you think about access to justice, how you think about using your law degree to close the justice gap.
Yeah, this ties in directly to the clinical experience that we shared. I think one of the most important things we can do is not be the type of lawyers that just tell people what to do. I think one of the first steps into reaching some sort of equality, whatever that looks like, is to help people feel the strength inside of them to make good decisions for themselves. And I think we are here to just assist them in that progress, not necessarily to tell somebody what to do.
And how did you find striking that balance as you were representing clients? Because you've represented real people in, I know at least in our clinic in DC Superior Court, right, in the Domestic Violence Division and the Domestic Relations Branch. How did you find that project of representing someone's interests and centering them as you're doing it?
I think that's the most important thing to put their interest above anyone else's, because someone comes to you with a very, very delicate problem that they're going through. And they're confiding in you, and they're telling you all these things that are going wrong in their lives. And it's kind of an out-of-body experience, because you're not usually in a position to control somebody's life. But I think if you can take what they say and really just advocate for them, then whether you win or lose, it's a job well done.
True. And I should share with all of you that in the work that I observed of Dennis's, it is easy for, especially when you start doing this work with a litigant, to hear their story, translate it to a legal problem, and then cut out the work you have to do. What you did, Dennis, and I don't know if you're aware of this yourself, and how unique and special this is start with the litigant's experience, start with your client's just the emotional reaction to the conversation, just how truly important that is. I think anyone here who has done public interest work or pro bono work or represented a client one-on-one kind of knows what I'm talking about. It's phenomenal. So what's next for you?
What is next? I am a fellow for the DC Affordable Law Firm. I'm going to be getting my LLM in advocacy alongside 2 other fellows at the school. And I'm just very excited, but I know I have a lot of things I have to take care of before that day starts. Yeah.
Excellent. And what does it mean to you to get to join the DC Affordable Law Firm and do the work that they're committed to do to represent folks who are below a certain income threshold and otherwise probably wouldn't have access to a lawyer?
I think it just adds to my mission, what I came to law school to do. It aligns perfectly with why I went to UDC. It's just given me the opportunity to be on the front lines of helping DC. And I know Professor Broderick knows, but after taking state and local government in particular, it's very, very motivated to stay in DC, to help DC. There's a lot of room for improvement in DC. So, yeah. Yeah.
Well, I think I can find no better way to close that than Shelley Broderick. So, well, please join me in just congratulating Dennis on his phenomenal achievements.
Thank you.
So proud of it.